back with another episode of Triggered AF the podcast.
Yes.
Live and in person. Live as in like we're together now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You get us.
So today we wanted to kind of let you in on a little bit of our girl talk.
Oh, yes.
Right? Like some of our more private conversations that we don't usually share. Some of our kikis, some of our little gossip. Just some of the things that we talk about kind of off the air that we don't really put on the podcast because sometimes it's just not as
politically correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we just wanted to let you guys in a little bit more on our personality and some of the things that we just talk about as girlfriends because we are sister friends first.
Yes.
So today we want to talk about red flags.
Listen.
Okay. Red flags. You know, it's something that red flags are something that are going to come up for any adult because we are dealing with other humans.
Yeah.
And it's a really good way to kind of gauge your experience, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, this thing happened. Is this something that I should be cautionary about? Is it a yellow flag? Or do I need to run for the fucking hills because it's a red flag?
And peace out.
Yeah, you know? Or is it a green flag? Is this a positive thing? There are green flags too, right? Like, is this something that is a step in the right direction? Is an indication that this is a healthy human being to start a relationship with? So even though there are all the color flags, we want to focus on the red flags because we realize that it's important for people to kind of be able to identify when things may be troubling as early as possible.
I think our biggest thing, for me at least, that's going to be a major takeaway from this is to identify, like, what are your defaults when you see red flags?
But what do you mean defaults? Like, what does that mean?
So a default for me is, it's a habit, right? It's what are the things that I normally do most often? So like for this, if you see a red flag, what do? Do you try and be a Captain Save-A-Ho? Or you're just like, oh no, let me come and cuddle you, and make you my own? Or is it you're like, I know this particular behavior does not work or bode well with who I am as a human.
Okay.
I'm a head out.
So like, what's your default reaction? Like, what do you do? Like, you see the red flag, now what?
Yeah.
Like, are you jetting for the hills, or are you trying to fix it? Are you trying to stick around to see how red the flag can get? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's definitely, I think, that's definitely something I feel like you need to kind of explore and be honest with yourself. Like you were saying, tell yourself the truth. Like, be honest with yourself. Like, how many times have you seen a red flag and just was like, I don't want to see that flag, okay? Fuck that flag. I didn't see it.
This is what I want to do, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and you just completely ignore it. And no matter how much your friends and family members, sometimes, hell, the person with the red flag tells you that it is just not okay.
Yeah.
You just decide that, you know, it's not as bad.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
We can work through it.
Yeah, we try to make it seem like it's smaller than it is. It's not that big of a deal. So I think it's important for especially women to be able to identify red flags and also identify what your reactions are and if that is the healthiest reaction to when you see a red flag. So I know one for me is fucked up eyebrows. I mean, I know that's so random. Let's just jump right in. And that has nothing to do with like romantic, right? Like it's just like for some reason when people have, you know, especially like them thin joints, like the thin, like pencil, like 1920s joints. Also the 1990s, our eyebrows were pretty thin too. Like if you're still doing that in 2022, like I just can't trust you. I don't know what it is, but it's like every time I have an encounter with someone with really thin, strange looking eyebrows, it's just always peculiar. It's
peculiar
like,
for you.
What's happening? Like, what's happening that you like? You do this to yourself, one, and then you like the next day you look at it, and you're like, yeah, like this is the look. Like this is what I'm gonna go with for the day.
Yeah.
It's just a red flag, especially for like I can't be friends with anybody that has fucked up eyebrows.
Oh my God. I think for
your eyebrows don't have to be perfect to be my friend because I can help you get there, but you can't have like Betty Boop eyebrows.
I think for me, it's the snuffleupagus eye lash.
The lashes are a red flag. Why?
Oh my God. For me, it makes me think that your decision-making skills aren't in the place that they should be.
Snuffleupagus, you talking about like when they're super long, they like touch their eyebrows?
When it looks like a bat like shitted on your face.
Oh my God.
Like,
is that what it looks like to you?
For me, yes. That's
no snuffleupagus lashes.
No snuffleupagus. Like, why? What is the point and the purpose of your eyelashes reaching all the way back to the Atlantic slave trade to pull your ancestors' hurts, pains, and desires?
Yeah, because their eyes damn sure do be red and tearing and looking crazy. Yeah, the lash.
It's your ancestors' pain.
Those are red flags.
I just want to know, where did it come from?
I don't know. I think it's just like you know what I think? I think it's a drag thing.
Really?
Yeah, like I think a lot of the beauty standards nowadays, a lot of it is based in drag culture. If you look at the way our makeup is done, the contouring, the dramatic eyes, the things like dramatic eyelashes and things like that, even the more dramatic brow look, I think a lot of it stems from drag queen culture.
I never thought about that. Well, I don't like it. But I mean, I like a drag queen. Like, I've seen some cute, listen, the girls.
No, they slay. But I'm just saying, like, if you compare the looks, like, obviously we don't go full drag, most of us do. But I feel like, you know, a lot of it is just, you know, it's similar. It's especially the dramatic aspect of it. But anyways, snuffleupagus lashes scare Alicia.
They do. They scare me. It really makes me question your decision-making abilities. And if I'm questioning your decision-making abilities, I can't have you close up in on me because I'm going to be afraid that you're not going to make good decisions. I don't know what else you're going to do next. Yeah, I don't know what other crazy decisions you're going to make. Okay, but on a more serious note, another really big red flag for me is when someone is highly critical and can't take feedback. Oh, listen.
Especially because they're a Virgo. Because I don't know who is more critical than Virgos, Lord.
Listen, literally the most critical humans. Like, I do not.
So maybe Virgos are just red flags.
Virgos are just red flags. It's so crazy because I only know, honestly, 2 Virgos that are really good people. All the rest of the Virgo men, and this is Virgo men, like Virgo women, I've met some really great Virgo women.
I don't know about that. I know maybe 1. 2.
No, but Virgo men, just like as a point of note for me, are just like a hell no, we won't go. It's just something about them when they were born. Like everything is just like the end of the world. You can never do anything right. My ex-husband was a Virgo, and this is not coming from a broken place. Because next item on the agenda. Thank you for the lessons and the blessings, and also. It's very difficult for me to take a Virgo serious.
When someone is really highly critical and they project, I'm assuming it's a projection of whatever insecurities they have, and they just try to maybe project that onto you and make you feel as small as maybe they feel. Because a lot of times people feel like they're critiquing you in love. I tell you this because I love you.
No.
I just want the best for you, and I'm just telling you. But the thing is, if you can't balance out those critiques with compliments, I don't want them.
Yeah, like.
And it's not even balanced. I want a way more compliments, and then you can sprinkle in some critique in there somewhere. You know, like it can't be like, it's the same thing. Like, I don't really believe that you should discipline children you don't love.
Ooh, that is so true. Because if you don't really love them, you're not coming from a caring place where you want the best for them.
I don't want anyone disciplining my child who does not have some kind of relationship with them.
I can understand
it's
that.
a thing. I just do not like that. I think it's because you open up the door for them to be abused by others when you just kind of let anybody talk to them. However, the neighbor could do this and grandpa could do this. Like, no, like if you don't have a consistent relationship with my child, I do not believe that. If you have an issue, you can come to me.
Let me know.
You know, so it's the same idea of constantly critiquing someone, but never ever building them up or giving them compliments or telling them something positive and saying it's in the name of love. Like, I just don't. And then 9 times out of 10, when you try to give a person who likes to critique you feedback, absolutely not having it. They do no wrong.
Nothing. Like, what are you talking about? I'm perfect in my everything of life, and it's like, so I'm supposed to be able to take literally this windfall of all the things that I have ever done wrong in life from the time I was conceived.
Yeah.
And you are just the second coming of the Lord.
I remember being critiqued down to my clothes, my hair, my makeup, I don't know what wasn't critiqued like on a regular basis, to the point where I had to throw out shoes that were not up to par and clothes that were like not it. I just never had these kind of insecurities arise, because it was never something I never had to think about until somebody was like, oh, well, that's not good, and that's whack, or that's corny, or that's lame, or that's, and you're just like, huh? And it's just like, I think it's a red flag when somebody always wants to point out what's wrong with you
and never
was right. That is a red flag, and it's not out of love. And we have to kind of come out of this mindset that people who love us are cruel to us, and that tough love means abuse. Tough love means sometimes not enabling you.
Yeah.
I think tough love can look like loving you from a distance, telling you no, reinforcing boundaries. But tough love doesn't mean that you get to treat me like shit because we have a relationship and you feel like this is the only way you know how to communicate your love. If you can't get the help that you need to learn how to communicate your love in a healthier space, goodbye.
Peace out, homes. That's just that on that. For me, I firmly believe like a lack of effort is a big, huge one.
Huge.
For me.
Especially in relationships, romantic relationships.
Yeah. And so and this is, I know all the perfect parents won't understand me here, and this is totally fine. This podcast is definitely not for you because we highlight all of our insecurities and things we do wrong and all the things. Mm-hmm. But for me, I feel as though no one taught me how to date, right? No one taught me how to date. No one taught me how to choose partners who were good for me, who were good for my nervous system. Yeah. And so what I'm being very, very intentional about is teaching my 12-year-old how to date before she's actually dating, so like pre-dating, so that she can get a good idea of what types of humans do I want to allow in my romantic space and sphere.
So it's like teaching her how to choose.
Teaching her how to choose. And so she's 12, right? Which is, I said, all the perfect parents, they're going to be like, oh my God, that's okay. Mind your business and drink your water. But so she's 12, and, what we were doing is she had this little guy who she says she doesn't like, and that's totally fine. However, I could tell she had an affinity towards him. So maybe not like, but there is an affinity towards him, right? Okay. And so I told him, like, hey, well, let's invite him to go out with us, right? Like, that could be fun. Invite him to go out with us so we can just, have some fun. I really want her to learn how to choose good people. Yeah. How you two can make, like, let's say you do like guys, how to go out with them without the first thing being you have to put yourself in compromising situations because you don't know how to just date and explore and have fun. Yeah. Because that was me. I did not know how to just date, explore, and have fun. I was always putting myself in compromising situations because nobody freaking taught me how to date. And so I'm like, okay, let's plan our time. We're all going to just hang out, have some fun. Let's plan the time. So, okay, she tells him the time, tells him go, ask your mom, can she come? Or she didn't have to come because I was going to be there. And he's like, oh, well, I didn't tell my mom in enough time because he asked like the day of. And so I made a mental note of it. I did not say anything to her because I never wanted to be that she makes decisions based solely on my feelings, right? I want it to be that she acknowledges her own feelings and she's able to make informed decisions based on her feelings. Yeah. So I made a note on the fact that we told you a week ago and you're just asking your mom on the day of. For me, in my adult space now, I know that means you don't really fuck with me like that. Yeah. You don't really want to indulge and be around me like that.
And it's so crazy how we're taught, even at a young age, to start to make excuses when people don't do what they're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Maybe they were busy. Maybe they weren't feeling well. Maybe this. Like, we always can come up with a justification for people's bullshit, and we like to make excuses for people's poor behavior in an effort to like be understanding.
Yeah, you're trying to be understanding of their lack of effort. Like, why?
Like, why? Yeah, and it's the same thing like when like I hear girls be like, oh, I'm dating this guy. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, how long you guys been dating? Oh, we've been dating like a little over a month. And how often do you talk to him? Oh, like once a week.
Oh,
like,
y'all ain't dating.
Once every few days. I'm just like, does he know y'all are dating? Because when I'm dating a man, we got to talk every day. It doesn't have to be like a sit on the phone and talk for hours, but I need you to check in on my well-being.
Communicate.
Every day. Did I eat? Am I okay? How am I feeling? How's my day going? Like, I need some kind of interaction. And when women like to come up with, oh, he's super busy, or he has children, or he works a lot, or he travels a lot, and it's just like, it takes 30 seconds to send a text message saying, hey, beautiful, how's your day? I hope all is well. I'm having a super busy day, but I'm thinking about you. Let me send you a picture. Like, there are just so, especially nowadays with all the access we have to technology, like, there is no excuse for a lack of effort. There are so many different methods of communication, and I think it's even more apparent and it's more like magnified in this day and age when people don't want to be interacting with you. Like, if they're not interested, especially romantically, pay attention to their behavior, not the things that they say, not all the wishful and hopeful plans in the future that don't come to pass.
Don't really care about all that.
No, like, I'm not with none of that. Like, if you want to see me, if you want to spend time with me, like, you need to be intentional and very deliberate.
Yes.
And if you're not showing me lack of effort, if you're showing me lack of effort and you're just not doing the things that send the right message to me that I understand, because sometimes people be like, oh, I was showing effort.
How, Sway?
How?
Is it something that you understand? And I'm not saying like, oh, they showed no lack of effort, so you just cut them off from the beginning. Right. No, you could absolutely, like with my daughter, I was like, okay, well, let's give him another chance.
Yeah.
So let's tell him again, hey, well, let's do another Sunday.
Yeah.
The next Sunday. See what happens then.
Yeah.
And literally just there was no communication. And so what I did to Sanaya is I told her, I'm like, hey, I want you to take note of this. Take a look at how it made you feel.
Yeah.
And take a look at what his actions were.
Yeah.
If he didn't make an effort, and I made sure I wanted her to know, you want to look at the effort that people put in. If you've opened up the gate and opened up the door and you've told them, hey, I would love to hang out, I would love to spend time, or whatever it is, even if you don't like them, even as a friend, because I do this with friends too.
Yeah.
If I leave the door open for you in my, who was that? Is that Bruno Mars? I think that is. That's Bruno Mars. I'm going to leave the door open.
Oh, yeah.
If I leave the door open for you, and you don't readily just want to come the fuck in, or you're not excited about coming in or hang with me or chill out with me, you don't fuck with me and you don't like me. And hey, yo, I'm so cool with that.
Yeah.
But I don't want my daughter to get used to giving when people who you're giving to don't have the capacity to give back to
Exactly. And it needs to be in a way that you can understand.
Yeah.
Someone needs to be interested enough to learn your love language, learn how to communicate in a way that you can accept it. I don't want the gift if that's not what I'm asking for. You can't just say I should be happy with it because you gave it to me.
That's not how that works.
No, you need to just figure out, get to know me, and if they really want to, they will. And that is the answer for everything. If they want to, they will. There is nothing that, let me tell you something, these men especially have started wars. We say this all the time, they will move heaven and earth for you if they want to. So if he's not texting you back within a few hours, and we have our phones in our hands all the time. It's like when people are like, oh, I was caught up for 3 days. What was you doing for 3 days? What happened? Were you on a submarine? What happened?
Unless
were
you
down under? Like, what are the excuses? Like, sometimes it's like we're so afraid to scare them off that we won't even ask the right questions to figure out what the hell happened, or we don't feel like we have the right because I'm not his girl. No,
I'm asking questions.
As a human being, I want to know why you're not returning my text messages, so that I can make a decision. Like, hey, maybe this is not a good time for you because you have a problem with communication, and maybe we should revisit this possible relationship at another time.
If I'm still available.
That's the part.
If I'm still available. Like, don't allow people to put you on pause. Talking about, oh, that's a red flag. That ain't even one of them that we had discussed. But allowing people to put you on pause is
what do I call it? A pocket monster.
Listen, you want to put me in your little pocket until you're ready. That is
take me out and play with me.
That's a whole red flag. If you literally like, oh, well, I'm not ready, but I just really want to, you want to what? Play with me? until you finally get it through.
Or there's stuff they say now, like, oh, I just want to vibe. That's what you mean.
I don't want to vibe.
Or, oh, we could just chill. Or, like, whatever they say now, which means, like, I'm just trying to touch on you, but I'm not really trying to be with you. And I'm willing to take whatever you're willing to give.
Exactly.
And give you nothing in return. Nothing
of value. Child, that's a red flag. And decide what your default is going to be, okay? Is it that you're going to be like, as much as I like you, as much as I want you, I've seen how this plays out, and I'm going to choose different. And I'm not just saying this shit, y'all, trust me, I have literally had to make this decision because I, too, allowed a person to come back twice to waste my time.
Yeah.
And they tell me the same thing both times. Well, I'm not ready, but I just really want to, explore what we've got. Bitch, we don't got nothing. Not a goddamn thing.
And you know something too? I always kind of think of this, especially when I think back on past relationships. The signs and the red flags were there early. That's why we want to talk about this, because it's like a lot of times you're overlooking things and you're letting things slide and you're looking the other way and you're trying to be patient, you're trying to be compassionate, you're trying to be graceful, all the things. And when you look back, it was like, damn, like I could have left that 6 months ago. Like, why did I stay all this time? And it's just like you get to this space sometimes where you are so desperate or you're so longing for that love and that attention that you're willing to put up with whatever.
I mean, whatever.
It's like, and you don't even realize that that's what you're doing because you just want the love so bad. And then you just take what you can get because it's better than nothing. Right?
I promise nothing is better than whatever you can get.
Yeah, like, like, I don't like that.
Nope.
Another red flag for me, I would say people who are easily angered. Especially because I'm not easily angered. I just realized through all my dating that it's very important to be with someone who has a similar temperament as you.
Yes.
And someone who manages their anger also in a similar way.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I see people like, oh, I'm so calm, but when he's not, he just blows up. And that's the dynamic. It's like, I feel like if I blow up, you blow up. Like it needs to be like an even match in a sense. I know that sounds crazy, but honestly, otherwise I feel like it's bullying. If I'm the kind of person that goes from 0 to 100 and you're just this person that just sits there and stares or isn't going to say anything, like what's happening? Like you're being bullied. Like I'm beating on you at this point if you're not fighting back. So for me, in my kind of like quest for love and all the things that I've been through with dating, it's always been very important to me to be with people who deal with anger. Like I don't like to be yelled at
all. If you raise your voice, I'm out.
Like it. Like I don't like it. I don't like nasty fighting. Like where you just say reckless shit to me because you're mad.
Like you dirty bitch.
Or like you like fighting words. Like these are fighting words at this point.
You talking to me like I'm a hoe out in the street.
Yeah, or like men who throw things, or I know there are men who will this hasn't happened to me, but men who will punch the wall next to you or throw things in your direction.
I've had that too.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't like it. And then it'd be over nothing sometimes. Like
over simple stuff.
Yeah, I don't like that. I can't stand it when I feel like someone doesn't have any control over their emotions. It makes me feel unsafe.
It makes you feel super unsafe. And you know, I was, married to an abuser and I dated other abusers. Because again, I did not have, this is why too, like, listen, when I be talking some shit, understand I may be talking to y'all, but I'm also talking to myself. But like when you have men who every little thing infuriates them and they're punching holes into walls and they're slamming cabinets because they're mad. Now, I'm not saying that you'll never get to the point where you slam a cabinet. Yeah, you may slam a cabinet door, but I draw the line at punching holes in my walls. Or yelling at me or throwing things
or being insulting
towards me. Yeah, or calling me out of my name.
Yeah,
I don't call you out your name. Please keep the same energy.
Yeah, because I feel like once the respect is lost,
you could do anything.
It just goes downhill. And another thing too with relationships, I think it's a red flag when relationships start off rocky. And some people might disagree because they may be in an amazing relationship of something that started off really tumultuous. But I know that if that's your case, that is the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
And a lot of times in those early stages, you're kind of setting the foundation. And relationships typically only get more challenging and more difficult and in a sense harder. So it's like if it starts off in like a really kind of tumultuous, argumentative, like place that is starting off really toxic and there's a lot of turmoil early on, I think it's a red flag.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will try to convince you that like, oh, we're just being ourselves. So that's why it feels like it's just we're arguing less because we're not showing up as our representatives. Like some people pride themselves on like, I'm going to be an asshole to you early so you can see what you're getting. And it's just like, you can be an asshole to me early so I can see that you're an asshole and I can leave. Like, I think relationships, I think a honeymoon phase, I think like that part of a relationship early is important. I think you need to kind of start on a high because it's just going to get, you're not going to stay up there. You know what I mean? So it's like, if we're starting low,
I guess some people feel like there's only up from the bottom. That's what a lot of people feel as though.
To start though, like in a relationship?
I'm hearing the question that you're asking.
Yeah.
There are people
from
who
my
believe
experience, that's not what I've experienced. Every time it starts bad, it get worse.
It get worse. That's my experience too.
You know?
I don't, so for me, I like relationships that allow me to be at peace.
Yeah, I feel good.
Yeah, like I am, and this is, I'm a firm believer in Dan Leslie says it all the time, but I'm addicted to what makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And I want my relationships, I understand. Yes, there will be disagreements. Yes, there will be things that you argue about. Yeah. But if it's the standard and the norm,
I think that's the temperature all the time.
We always arguing, we always fussing. Don't nobody want to go out with us because they're like, oh hell no, these episodes gonna argue.
They're gonna cuss each other out in public. Absolutely.
Yeah, like that can. I don't even invite that into my universe. If you want a motherfucker who yell and curse and you feel like, oh, that makes you feel good, like you like a little toxicity, I'm not the one.
Yeah, and you know sometimes because it feels like home, like we say, it's like you feel like because of maybe the way you were shown love as a child from people who were your caretakers, you feel like that behavior is a display of love. You feel like, hey, if you're yelling at me, that means you care. If you're cursing at me, that means you're just passionate about me, and you just
don't be that passionate.
Yeah, it's like we sometimes will start to convince ourselves that this is the norm because it's what we saw growing up, and that it has to be like that. I remember thinking like that in the past, like feeling like, oh, this is just how relationships are. Like you're gonna be nasty, you're gonna fight, you're gonna feel small, you're gonna feel like you have to dim your light, you're going to feel it's normal to be critiqued, it's normal to be put down. Like that is a part of a relationship because it's wrapped up in honesty. I'm being honest with you by being like this because I'm just being myself and this is how I am. So if you love me, you'll take me as I am. As opposed to, this is how I am and it might not be the best, but I want to work on this, or I want to be better for you, or I want to be better for myself even. Yeah. But a lot of times we're taught to just take people at their worst and hope for the best. That's not okay with me. No more.
Me either. I think too, like a really, really big one for me is people who don't cheer with you. Like, not just like cheer you on, because yes, you'll have like strangers and things who they'll cheer you on, but I need for my close knit folks, my loving friends, my family who I allow to be close up in on me, my partners, I need you to cheer with me.
Do you feel like if they're not, then maybe they're a hater? Like, why do you think they wouldn't? Like, why wouldn't a friend be cheering with you?
Because there could be animosity there. It could be envy there. It could be jealousy there. Like, I remember I was dating this guy who, mind you, he worked for a social media company. So he was on the socials. He would comment on everybody else's stuff. And it's not about, oh my God, you're basing a relationship off of social media. That is not what I mean. What I was basing it off of is you can congratulate and show love and light to everyone else, but never to me.
Okay.
You don't cheer with me except for in our private quarters. But you cheer for everyone else out loud.
I definitely have experience. I know that you say it. It's like one of those things where it's just like, you're so quick to praise this person and
sharing
repost
stuff
this person, and hype them up. And when I have accomplishments, you're quiet. Ooh, I thought I had belonged.
Quiet is hell.
Just brought something to my attention. Now that you said it,
I literally be looking at it like, is it me? Am I?
Yeah.
Am I being too sensitive? Because I'm the first person to check myself.
Because we like to make it seem like if you're reacting to something on social media, it's ridiculous. But it's like
trivial.
Social media is now interwoven into the very fabric of our lives. That is a part of real life.
The very
and
fabric.
It is an expression of ourselves. So you can't just say, oh, it was just social media. Like, oh, you unfollowed me. It's just like, it seems like it's trivial. And I think in some ways it is. But it's also like an act of
your real life. Yeah.
Whatever it is, like you're doing that is a move that you're making to it's like a sign of something. Like you're showing me how you feel about something. Like if you and I are friends, we get into an argument and you unfollow me on social media,
you telling me something in real life.
It's like you're telling me that you don't want to see me. You ain't want to see me on the internet. Like you are done. Like, you know what it is to go in and be like, I don't even want to see this bitch no more. Like I don't even want to scroll past and see your face. Like, that's how I feel when I unfollow people. It's like, why am I following you? Like, we know the mentality behind it. So just to kind of clarify, like, social media-ness and it not being trivial enough for you to overlook it.
Exactly. Yeah. And two, like, so when you have friends who, they will be there through all of the hard things, but they are mum's the word when you're celebrating the high moments.
Do you think sometimes, I was talking to my husband, it's so weird to say that still, but I was talking to my husband about this the other day, where we were talking about, is it difficult to be happy for people when you're not happy with your life?
Yes, I do believe it is. But this is how you can change that for yourself. And I do it too still, because understand, I'm still going through so many transitions. It's so crazy. I went to this art showing last night in someone's beautiful home. And oh my God, there was a piece on their wall headed down to the basement. And it was this piece, I think it was like 12 blocks, like square blocks. Mm-hmm. And they were painted with all these different textures and colors. And literally, I was so drawn to it. I had no idea why. I got up close to see the name of it, and the name of the art installation or structure was called Transitions. So I'm going through all, and I was like, oh my God, this is my life. One color is here and another color is here, and all the different textures, and this is that. It's a lot right now that I'm taking in and changing and transforming. And I am still extremely excited for my friends who are having the highest moments in their life.
Does that take work, or does it take effort to move through maybe your own feelings that may not be as pure to get to that? Or do you feel like you're just naturally, because I feel like it's easy. I think it's okay to feel a tinge of jealousy and envy sometimes. Like, I think it's fantastical to think that those emotions will never arise. I think it's what you do with them and how you act on them and how long you're swimming in that pool. I think like a little sprinkle of it can be healthy if you use it to propel you forward.
That's what I was about to say, but most people don't use it to propel you forward.
No, they just sit there and hate. But I just, I just wish people would be honest as far as like saying like, I'm really happy for you, but I'm also a little jealous. Like, I wish that was me. Like, I wonder sometimes why I don't feel that way. And it might be a turnoff to hear them say that, but sometimes it's better that you guys can maybe have a dialogue, and maybe from your vantage point where they feel is better, you can give them a better perspective. Maybe, I don't know. I think it's a complicated thing, especially in friendships where one friend at this point is elevating in one part of your life that you're not elevating, that you want to elevate in. Can you truly be happy if you're just not satisfied with yourself? It's not that easy to just always be rooting people on. I don't think it's easy for most people, I should say.
So we can talk about it in terms of you and I. So I am now at the point, place, stage, and phase where I want a relationship, like a real partner. Yeah. A partner who I'm excited about, who I love, who loves me, who I like, they like me back at the same time. Yes. We vibe, they are protectors, they are providers, they get excited to take care of things. They're excited to make my life easier because I'm absolutely going to do the same for them, right? And you have that at this point in your life, and I don't. And there's no part of me that's jealous of you, because I feel as though, for me, you don't know what people have to go through to maintain their life, and you may not be willing to put in the effort that it takes for that.
To do all the things.
You may not be willing to make those sacrifices, or you may not have the capacity, not even the willingness. You may be hella willing, but don't have the fucking
It goes
capacity.
back to that conversation that we had where we were talking about wanting things because you see other people with them, but not willing to do the things it takes.
Yeah, so
It's
I
a
don't
real
have
thing.
that for me. And I'm not saying that, oh, it makes me so much better. No, it makes me aware of my fucking capacity.
Yeah.
It makes me fully aware of who I am.
So maybe that's what it's about. It's about self-awareness and knowing what works for you. And it's like, okay, I mean, there's so many things that this can apply to. Like some people might feel like, oh, that person has a mansion. I want a mansion.
Are you willing to clean the bitch? Or hire the people?
And are you going to pay all the bills? And can you furnish a mansion? It's just like all the details that you tend to overlook when you're looking through a lens of jealousy.
Yes.
Because you just want what somebody else has, but you're not looking like, you're not peeling back the layer.
Are you willing to pay the taxes on the mansion?
There's just so much. But I definitely think it's a red flag, especially romantic or otherwise.
Yeah.
Friendships, if people don't cheer with you and they're not rooting for you as well, and they're not like your cheerleaders, like your friends and the people are supposed to be your support system. And I definitely think cheering you on is a form of support.
Yeah, cheering you on and cheering with you.
Yeah.
I want to be on the sidelines or hell, running next to you if this is the season or the space and place that I'm supposed to be in with you.
Yeah.
Yes, and also I can look at you and your relationship. You know, I think Reggie is the bee's knees. I think he's an amazing human.
Yeah.
And also, I still understand that there is something that's specifically for me. So being envious of what you have takes away the energy that I need to be using to manifest my own person versus being jealous about what you have.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. For me, it don't make no sense.
No, but it's a thing.
It's a huge thing.
It's a real thing because some people can't. They're not self-aware enough to see past that and to realize that there is something that's better and not feeling like I have to take from you. Well, it's better for you. That's what I mean. Like a better option for you. And they feel like because of a lack of abundance mindset, which we're going to talk about next, a lack of abundance mindset is because you feel like if she has it, I want to take it so I can have it. I don't want you to have it. I want it. As opposed to thinking like, you have it. How do I get it? Girl, give me some tips. How did you figure that out so that I can have that too?
Yeah.
Not instead of you.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Speaking of lack of abundance, a red flag for me, and I know it is so petty, and Alicia helped me figure out today why it's actually a red flag for me, but I've just never liked it.
Yeah.
It's always been like the corniest thing to me. But I think it's a red flag now that I've really broken it down. And now it's like, I realize it every time it came back to that you brought it to my attention. Mm-hmm. But you ever go to like, especially a man's house and he has
or even a woman's house.
Or even a woman's house and they have a bunch of empty liquor bottles displayed as if it's like some piece of art or like a collector's item, like a Patron bottle from like 1999 still on top of their fridge. And this is like, that Patron bottle was $40. Like, you just can't go buy another one. There's nothing in here. Like, what is the point? So I was saying to Alicia, I was like, it's a red flag. Like, every time I see it, I'm always like, what's happening here? And I think it's weird. And she said it's because it's a lack of abundance where they think they may not get another one. So they're just hanging on to look at it as they dream and hope for more alcohol to be in it. But I do think that there is something to be said about it. Like, why? Like, maybe you guys can help us. Like, if you do this, please DM us.
Let us know the reason why.
Let us know why you feel like I'm going to hang on. Like, I've been to a guy's house and his entire refrigerator top was lined in bottles. And then, you know, like the top of the cabinets?
Yes.
Lined in bottles. And then, you know, the counter? Bottles. It was just...
And they were all empty?
Empty bottles.
Oh, man.
He had, like, filled bottles, like, in, like inside the cabinet. But he kept all the empty bottles. And I just didn't understand why. So that's very random, and I know it's strange. But I think it's something you should pay attention to. You go to somebody's house, ask them, like, why do you keep those bottles? Like, what's that about? Do you want me to just buy you a new bottle? Like, what? Like, why are we hanging on to this? Like, I just think there's something there. Maybe we have to explore it some more, but something about it is just giving lack of abundance.
Lots and lots. For sure, lack of abundance. I think one of the it's a major red flag for me, right? Is poor money management skills. Now, here's the thing. I used to be the red flag, okay?
What's the red flag?
I used to be the red flag. I used to be the red flag. And now, you know, for me, because I have been getting super clear on what am I spending my money on? Mm-hmm. Why am I spending my money on this? What part and piece of me is it feeding? Is it feeding my ego? Is this for other people? Is this for the gram? Is this, you know, to ensure my legacy? Like, is this to help me grow the money that I do have? Like, what am I spending my money on and why? Like now, I'm being a lot more intentional about how I'm releasing. It's a different word I'm trying to use now instead of spending. About how I'm releasing money, right?
Okay.
And so there was this guy who was trying to date me, and he gave me not one but 2 instances of how, actually way more than that. If I think about it, it's been like 5, about how really, really bad he is with money. And this same guy wanted me to marry him and also have his children.
What's bad with money though? Because I feel that's relative.
Baby, not this one. Okay, so 2 examples. Number 1, he was telling me how he was dating this girl. She was used to a certain lifestyle, and he wanted to prove that he could play on her level. So he essentially, in a span of 90 days, emptied out over $50,000 of his bank account because she was used to a certain lifestyle, and he wanted to show that he could keep up. I'm sorry.
Doesn't just make him an idiot?
In his mind, he was telling me to show me that when he cares about a lady, he really does care. But for me,
is that what that's supposed to be?
No, literally, that's what he said it was about. You know, I give my all. And for me, I couldn't stop thinking about how incredibly stupid that was, because that means any other person who you really, really care about, like let's say your mom or your sister or your auntie who needs something, you will clear out our joint account to make sure they're good because you do whatever for people you care about. Now, I need you to have some common sense.
Yeah.
I need you to have some common sense. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, that's
like, what are we doing?
I definitely experienced that too. Poor money management skills and like doing stupid things with money, and it's definitely a turn off, because it's like, if I'm supposed to let you lead me in some sense, if we get married or we have a family, how are you gonna lead me right into a ditch? Like, I definitely have. That has been a catalyst for me before to end a relationship or to want it to end, was like the way you handle money. And then a lot of times, especially for in a romantic sense, when you have to think about maybe combining your money, and if you have money on your own and then having that person manage that money too, like
what are we doing?
I'm not with it at all. Yeah. I think it's a red flag, and I think that, but I do think it's one of those red flags that could be that you can maybe give a little bit of a chance. Like, I think it may be something that in education, information.
Absolutely. There are levels to the red flags.
There are levels,
All of them, we're not saying throw the people out.
Yeah, I think this is one of those ones where it's just like, you can maybe educate them and show them another way.
I agree.
And if they're open and they're willing to make the adjustments, and you can move forward.
Absolutely.
I definitely think that's a thing where it's a red flag, but...
No, it's a red flag, and we can work on this.
And can we work through this to make it a yellow flag or a green flag, so that we can move forward? Because it's like, some of these red flags are literally people's flaws. Like, what are you going to do about your eyebrows now? Like, after I see them and you're my friend, and I decide, okay, maybe we could be kind of cool because she's funny or something, or quirky or weird. And I'm like, do you mind, like, what are your thoughts on growing your eyebrows back in? You know, like, are you willing to make these changes so that you can have a better life? You know, like, that's how I like to think about it.
Because clearly having better eyebrows means you have a better life.
I think it's a game changer. It changes the whole structure of your face. It's like your curtains. It's like the curtains. You ever, like, see a room and then you add curtains? Oh, shit, it's a whole new room. It's like a whole nother level. Look at your eyebrows and see if there's some room there for improvement, and maybe your whole life can change by just getting your eyebrows done.
I'm not doing this.
A big red flag for me is mama's boys.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't like that. I was watching this show and I felt like a little bit of a trigger when I was watching it. It's called Family and Fiance, and this guy was a mama's boy. His mom was like really toxic and didn't want him to like move on into his he was engaged,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like upset that she felt like she was being replaced by the fiance. And it was just so unhealthy. And I was just like, I've definitely experienced a mama's boy.
Mm-hmm.
And it is one of those things that feels so isolating. When, it's like you want a man to have a good relationship with his mom,
Absolutely,
right?
you want that.
But I definitely think there should be some boundaries in place. Like, I don't think you
And
gotta
you want
call
that
your
too.
mom for everything. I don't think she needs to be all in our business all the time. I don't feel like we should be kicking it with her all the time. Like, it's nice to have a healthy relationship, but that's the key word, is healthy. I don't think it should be a situation where your mom is so in the relationship that it feels like a threesome. I don't want that.
No threesomes with their mamas?
No, but not that kind. Mm-mm.
First of all, I agree 110%.
Nah, I don't like mama's voice.
And because my thing is and Danny's gonna laugh at me again, but I do believe in that part of the Bible. It's a lot of parts in there that I just be like, maybe not. But that part, leave and cleave, that works for me.
Yes, the Bible says a man will leave his family and cleave to his wife, right?
Come cleave, baby, come cleave. I'm ready.
You gotta abandon all that. Again, it's important for them to have a good relationship, but I think it's more important for me to feel like I'm the priority and I'm the number one. And obviously now we as a unit care for your family, because now we're all family. But I don't want to be in competition with your mama. You're never gonna win that.
I'm not.
I'm never gonna win.
I'm not.
I
Like,
don't wanna
she
be in
gave
competition
you life.
with her.
There's no competition.
I can't beat that.
And I don't want to have to try.
Yeah.
I don't have to try.
It's just unhealthy. And a lot of times in those relationships, especially because I've been up close and personal to one, a lot of times there's a lot of like underlying resentment and tension and unhealthy toxicity that's kind of being exchanged between the two. I don't know. It's just if you are in a situation like that where you're kind of too deep to leave, just try to look a little deeper to see what the cause might be and see if you can appeal to him.
Of this unhealthy attachment.
Because sometimes you think trying to be friends with her or trying to win her over is going to change it. And no, because it's not about you. It's about her having control over her son. So if you can maybe appeal to him and show him different ways without being combative and without disrespecting her and putting her down, that would be a tip I have, I think, because I definitely, when I did start kind of doing that, I found that it was a little bit more... It kind of loosened up a little bit. Yeah, when it was kind of like pointing out things to him while being respectful, while not coming from a place of disdain or hatred for her. It was just like, hey, A, B, C, D. And he would see it for himself. So that is a tip I have for anybody dealing with mama's boys that they can't escape or they're not allowed to leave right now. It is a red flag, but there are ways to manage it so that it can be more tolerable.
Absolutely. But if you're not there yet, sis, run.
And you can leave. It ain't gonna change. Ever.
No, not at all. I think a major one for me is someone who flips the script.
Well, that's a big one. I used to be that flag. I can still be that flag.
Listen,
sometimes.
and I get it. It's okay. We have to tell ourselves the truth. Like, please understand, we're not coming from a place of, we're above this. I told y'all, I was the poor money management skills.
I've done that in a lot of my relationships. Maybe every last one.
Oh, dang. You ain't shit.
I know.
But you're better now.
I don't even feel like I mean to do it most of the time. Like, it's just something that I'm really good at, I think. Like, I'm just good at, like, showing you the other side of it.
That's fucked up, friend. I love you.
It's just like...
And also...
But it's not good. I try to be more conscious of it now, but it's like, usually I can find an alternative argument and make a really good case about it.
Why are you like this?
I don't know why. It's just like, I just would, like, rather us look at it a different way. That doesn't involve me being in a hot seat or being in the doghouse. But it's not. It is a red flag. It's a red flag,
especially if you can never, like, if I can never bring something to you and I'm like, hey, Danny, this right here is a problem.
Yeah, I'm kind of better with it, where I can be like, okay, and stop. Like, okay, this is a problem. Like, what can I do? As opposed to being like, well,
yeah, like, that's not cool. And if that's you, I need you to seek help.
Yeah, I did. I'm in therapy now. I got an appointment next week.
Listen, because people need to be able to bring things to you that are concerning to them about the treatment or how they're feeling.
Without them feeling like you're not going to hear them.
Yeah.
Or without feeling like they're not going to be able to be vulnerable with you, and it's safe to do that.
Yeah, you do want them to feel safe. Like, just like I like a safe space and place, my partner does as well.
Yeah.
And so if I'm the only one feeling safe in this bitch, we not gonna be around for, you know, for too much longer, because I mean, he gonna be like, well, dang, sis, you ever gonna let me express a concern to you? And you,
especially with men, they don't like that. They think if they're willing to open up to you and they want to like be vulnerable, and then you take it and you throw something in their face, or you flip the script, or you try to make them feel stupid about it, you're gonna definitely kind of mess up that trust that you built with them, and it's going to be very hard for them to continue doing that. And a lot of times they find somebody else to do that with, and then we know how that goes. So definitely don't flip the script on people. Hear them out. Let them say the things. But if you do see someone that's constantly flipping the script on you, be aware of it and address it real time.
Yeah.
That is the trick. That's how my husband gets me. He's like, nah. You trying to flip the script. He's like, nah, that was cool. That was nice. That was cute. But nah, this is what we're talking about. Get flips. What is it? Script flippers. Say that 10 times 5. Get script flippers in real time.
In real time.
That's my advice.
Don't talk about it later.
Someone who does it, don't try to wait and see if you can figure out the puzzle, because I done twisted you around so many times you don't know where home is. So don't try to come back after you done solved the mystery. Like, it's just gonna be even worse. I done had too much time to think now. Like, don't do that. Get me in real time. Call me in real time so you can stop me in my tracks, bring me back to the present, into my body, so that I can make better decisions. Like, that's what you do to somebody who does that. You automatically call them on it so that they can like snap back into their bodies.
Snap. Oh, back to reality.
Yeah. Oh, there goes gravity. The last two things that I know that we wanted to talk about as red flags, and these are popular terms, I think, but maybe just kind of breaking them down just a little bit before we go. The first one is gaslighting, and the second is love bombing. And I know that those are, again, just words that we hear a lot about, but we don't really know like what they are. We can start with love bombing. Ooh. Love bombing is when somebody is like, an example of it, as opposed to giving you the definition that you can look up, but it's like when somebody is like showering you with gifts, and showering you with attention, showering you with nice words, and it's just like, if it feels too good to be true, it usually is. Like, I still believe that. And I've had really great relationships in my life, to be honest with you, with men. And it's just like, you know, they come at you and you want someone to be intentional and to pursue you. But sometimes if it just feels like too much, and they're already talking about this future, and they want to consume all your time and all your energy, and you're just like, you don't even know how we got here. I feel like once it starts to feel like a whirlwind, you need to find a way to stop it and slow it down. Yeah,
because what it does is, and many times what they're trying to do is you know how like fiends get, where they get that first high, and then they're literally chasing a high that they're never they're never gonna get back again.
Yeah,
it puts you in it puts your entire nervous system into feast or famine mode, where they will feast on you with all the love. They will, present to you and lay ahead and before you all the things, and it's like, oh my God, look at that camera, and it's like, oh my goodness, all the things that are like happening, and they will literally like, look at this camera, look at this iPhone that I bought you, or look at this laptop I bought you, or look at this bracelet I bought you, or these diamond earrings that I bought you. Yeah. Like, they will love bomb the shit out of you.
And they'll tell you all the things you want to
hear.
Taking
you on this trip and doing all these things, and then they will go ghost.
They'll go ghost, or they just start to turn into a monster, but you're already so addicted to the love bombing, and you're so used to that, and you just think the more you do, then now you start to feel like, what can I do to get that back? And what was wrong with me to make him turn into this? And then you start to blame yourself as to why the love stops.
Like, and what did I do?
It just starts to become this kind of never-ending cycle. Yeah. So you definitely want to make sure that if somebody is love bombing you, that you are just kind of staying alert and staying aware and asking more questions and being like, really, you feel that way? Or why did you get me this? What made you think about me? And just like asking the important questions as to why they feel so strongly about you. And if they can't really break it down as to what it is they're so obsessed with and why they're so infatuated and why they're so-called so in love, then I think that is a sign that this may be something else. Yeah. And it's usually the first step in a narcissist's plot. And we're definitely going to do an episode on narcissism, but it's usually like a part of that pie, of narcissist pie. Like that and the gaslighting where somebody tries to deny your reality and tries to make you feel like the things that you're saying, it's like, oh, I saw you at this place. They're like, no, you didn't. Are you crazy? Like things like that where someone's trying to deny your reality and try to present a new one to you by manipulating your mind, that is a problem. Like
a huge one.
Those things are two major red flags, and that's why I want to say them for last, because they typically are signs that you're dealing with a narcissist. And that's a whole red flag that you don't need to wait for, you don't need to try to figure out, none of that. You need to
no questions asked.
Do not pass go, do not collect $200, just go
home.
You know, so
go home.
We just wanted to share this with you guys because, like I said, it's some of the things that we talk about and we've talked about over the years when we're dating or when we have friends dating, and it's just like, what's a red flag? What was that? And just trusting yourself, right? Like, I think that's the key to red flags. Trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, trusting your ability to make better decisions. Yeah. Not because this last guy was like that and I was able to change him for 6 months, but then he went right back to that behavior. Like trusting that you know this pattern, you recognize this pattern, and you know how to move accordingly and reset your default to something that's healthier for you.
Exactly. And two, you know how to ask questions, right?
Yes.
Because you shouldn't always just throw everybody out because, oh, this is a red flag, you've got to go.
Yeah.
Like, don't just be throwing. Yeah, some of them are you can work through them. Like, even now, lack of effort, I don't think you can work through that. People show you who they are, believe them the first time.
Yeah.
But there are many other things that you can work through, like the bottles, the eyelashes, you know, the
script flippers.
The script flippers, the poor money management skills. Like, you can work through those. But for me, like people who are easily angered, I can't help you regulate your nervous system so that you aren't so angry all the time. There's nothing I can do about that. Like, literally nothing I can't do about that. Like, I can't do anything about that. So just get super clear on what are the things that you can help. And a lot of times, too, in the coaching practices that we both have, we work on that. Like, what are your defaults? How can you adjust and change your behaviors so that you aren't constantly triggering negative reactions in your own nervous system because of your poor choices? Or, let's say they're not poor choices, but because of the choices that don't support the type of life and lifestyle that you want to lead. Yeah, even if it's a life and lifestyle that you've been used to. Absolutely. You know, so hopefully this was helpful, guys. Again, just a little kiki with us to hear what some of our facts are. There are hundreds and thousands more. Yes. But these are just some of the ones that, you know, we have dealt with ourselves or we know people that have dealt with. And it's just important to stay vigilant, be self-aware, make sure that you're asking the right questions, like Alechia said, and having real conversations with people so that you can see what's worth it and just what isn't worth it. If you guys have some red flags you'd love to share with us, please DM us at TriggeredAFPC or at the Danny Bordeaux or at Alechia Reese. Like, we want to interact. We want to have these conversations. And just let us know what kind of red flags you dealt with or you think are ones that people should really, really watch out for. Absolutely. And then you can absolutely stay connected to Triggered AF podcast.com to learn about all the things. We've got some super exciting events that are coming up. Make sure you are subscribed. You can always RSVP and register to join us for those in-person events or even virtual events because we have fun both times. You can do so at triggeredafevents.com. And if you would like to learn more about our coaching practices and also work with us, you can do so for me at tribe.gotvaluenation.com. And for you, Danny? And for me, you can go to DannyFosterCoaching.com to book a consultation with me for a wellness session. So definitely please reach out to us. The Triggered family is more than just about these talks. It's about actually implementing these things so we can heal our triggers together. Absolutely. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Share with your mama, share with your sister, share with your friend. Ciao.